Hey everybody, Tim Brahim, Performance Experts Coaching and Leadership 360 with another business and life tip for you. And today's subject matter is hiring and the interview process. And when you really assess and analyze this situation, it's so underestimated as to how important it is, right? Because especially if you're a loan originator on a small team, one or two people currently, or maybe it's just you and you're making your first hire, wow, that person becomes a critical add to your team, and getting it right the first time is so vital to your success. There's an old adage which is hire slow and fire fast, and unfortunately so many of us do the opposite. We hire fast and fire slow, and that's, as we've talked about before, as a result of us being in a hurry to fill a spot because maybe we don't have the capacity to satisfy the demand that we have to facilitate loans. And that interview process is one that really requires a good vetting so you can make the right hire the first time. Because when you think about it, if you make a bad hire and it takes 3 to 6 months to figure that out, and then you let that person go, you're kind of right back to where you were before. It's kind of like Groundhog Day all over again. And many of you have experienced this time and time again. So taking the time to ask what we refer to in Leadership 360 as open-ended questions in the interview process is very, very important. So here's what an open-ended question looks like. Tell me about a time when you were made a mistake at work, and what was it that you learned from that experience? Okay, so that would be an open-ended question. Another open-ended question would be, based upon the feedback that you've received from your employers in the past, what are some of the areas that you feel you need to be focused on improving? A third open-ended question could sound like this. Tell me about a circumstance where a customer was upset with you and how you handled it. You see, by asking questions that are open-ended, that ask somebody to embellish and tell a story, you'll learn an awful lot about them. You can pay attention to their body language and see if they're getting fidgety in the chair. You can see how resourceful they were in some of these questions that I've asked in terms of, and how self-aware they are too. Like, how willing are they to come forward with the areas that they know that they need to improve upon, versus some of the very standard close-ended questions that we ask that generally don't get a lot of elaboration in their response. Now, beyond that, we really want to see you interviewing people at least 2 and preferably 3 times. And ultimately, I would like to see you having more than just one person interviewing that candidate. So perhaps it's you and a colleague of yours, or you and your loan processor if you're hiring a transaction coordinator, to get a couple of fresh perspectives. So come up with a list. We have about 50 interview questions for each position that we have in the L360 program that our clients use. But come up with a healthy list of the different subjects that you'd like to touch upon and how you'd like to phrase those questions to get an elicit feedback that would give you some insights as to whether or not this person is really truly a great candidate for the position. In closing, what I'm going to share, because I think it's important, is that when I retired from being a loan originator back in 2004, Mary Johnson was my senior processor. She had been on my team for 13 years. I had been in the business for 14 years, and she had been on my team for 13. And then Tina Scultetti was my least senior person on my team, and she had been with me for 7 years. Everybody else, the other 4 people, were somewhere in between 7 and 13 years of tenure. Now, ask yourself this question. If you make a great hire and that person stays with you long term, how valuable are they to you? See, when you have a team of veterans that have worked together for a long period of time because the hiring process was taken seriously and the right hire was made, you get a level of continuity and rhythm as a team that is incredibly valuable. And your clients and referral partners that continue to come back to you and do business with you, they become really familiar with your team members, and you become less and less needed. So freedom is the byproduct of you having a well-rounded and versatile team that has a lot of tenure. So really take the hiring process seriously. I hope that you find this business and life tip helpful to your success, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.